Despite 50 years of economic growth, Canadians are starting to fall behind. Yet, for the friends of this government, the tap is flowing as freely as ever. Just last week, Mr. Harper called this the new normal. Well, I'm here to tell you the Prime Minister is wrong.
All right. Tom Mulcair addressing the faithful this morning. Let's bring in our MP panel, our favorite MP panel of the week. There is leader-seeking Liberal Roger Cuzner. Welcome back to the show. Okay, what do we got?
Great
Taxing NDP Megan Leslie. And carbon-bashing Conservative James Rajat. Welcome to you all.
Don.
I missed you guys.
I
Okay.
missed
I could say the same.
All right.
I missed all you guys. I missed all you guys.
She's sassy today.
Doesn't she?
Every Wednesday I had a bit of withdrawal.
Oh, yeah. All right, stop being so friendly. Let's move along. Let's get fighting here. You guys have a motion going, the New Democrats have a motion going to the floor tomorrow to debate. And the essence is the economy's in a shambles. The Prime Minister should go and meet with the premiers in November. Well, good luck with that one, but you can put the motion forward. Why do you think it's important to meet with the premiers? What's the economy going to, what economic policy is going to be discussed that'll change anything?
Well, we have a Prime Minister who announces changes to health care, fundamental changes to health care transfers when he's in Europe. We have a government that announces changes to pensions and EI without talking to anybody, without consulting with anybody. EI changes, the provinces, a lot of the premiers got together and went, come on, what is going on here? You didn't even talk to us. You didn't even let us know what was going on. What about just a little bit of consultation? So I think the economy is the #1 issue right now. We need a government that actually consults with provinces who understand what's going on the ground in the different regions across Canada. They have very valuable insight into what we could do positively. And could you imagine a government that actually consulted with premiers? It's going to be really interesting to watch the Prime Minister vote probably against the motion. It'll be astounding.
Is he going to vote against the motion, James? And how will you vote?
Well, I mean, the Prime Minister meets regularly with premiers, consults regularly with premiers. Ministers do as well. I mean, we did that leading up to the development of the first Economic Action Plan. We've done it throughout this Economic Action Plan as well. I mean, I think actually bilateral meetings are more productive in the sense of you actually have a one-to-one sit-down in terms of discussion of an issue. And so I think that's what the Prime Minister will continue to do. In terms of the economy, we continue to consult with the provinces in terms of all sorts of issues, whether it's employment or immigration or others. So we will continue to do that.
See, Roger, I covered these First Ministers' meetings when the Liberals were in power, and they'd often get there and they'd be grandstanding for the cameras. Danny Williams would walk out in a huff or something. Do you really get anything done at these besides playing for the photo op?
I find that odd that politicians would be grandstanding. But
perish the thought.
I think there's merit in it. I think every coach, they have individual meetings and bilaterals, as James has said. But I think it's important that that they do come together. The decisions that are being made, that are being imparted on the provinces. Changes in healthcare, as Megan had said, changes in EI, they usually trickle down to social services, community services of these provinces. So, I would think that it's a worthwhile motion, and we'll look forward to a full and wholesome debate on it.
You were going kind of ballistic yesterday on EI reform, or EI reforms. It's existing legislation, but it's changing something. Could you explain what's going on?
Well, they've changed the way they calculate the amount that you can make while on claim. And we made a pilot project in 2005, and we thought it took out a number of disincentives. And the minister announced that they were going to top the cap on that, which I thought it was a great idea at the time. But they changed the formulation, the mechanism they use. They now calculate all earnings. So what's become clear through this debate, Jason Kenney, you might disagree with his policies. You might, James Moore, you might disagree with his policies. But they know their files. Those ministers know their files. I really question how deep this minister is. We've seen it on EI checks. Oh my goodness, it's just how shallow the understanding is, and the impact that it's having on the most vulnerable.
Just quickly, do you have any response to Mr. Cuzner's?
I mean, on Minister Finlay, she knows her files very well. She's been trying to address some labor challenges across the country, including in my home riding and my province, in terms of we have some real labor shortages. In fact, she was in the riding and announced changes to the LMO program. And I can tell you, Roger, I mean, she knew her specific files very well. and is doing her best to address these employment challenges across the country. But it is a very different labor market as well. I mean, when our finance committee was in Newfoundland, even there people were saying we're suffering from a shortage of skilled tradespeople. So
I saw she changed her tone today, though. She was saying that these changes would benefit all EI recipients. She changed it today to the majority. I think by Friday we'll have her down to it will benefit some.
I want to move along. The MP pay freeze that's been on for several years now is due to come off next year, and it looks like it's going to go ahead in tandem with a lot of pension reforms. I guess a couple of questions to you, Megan. The Liberals are screaming to have this pension reform separated from the upcoming major budget bill. I want to know if you think that's a good idea, and should you have your pay freeze thawed next year?
I think, the NDP is absolutely open to any discussion about MP pensions or about MP pay. Absolutely. We've yet to see anything, so it's a little tough to comment on details. But in terms of what we should do, the NDP's proposed having a separate panel. Take this out of the hands of the politicians. I mean, if you had the chance to determine your own pay, how would you do it, right?
Yeah.
Let's get this out of the hands of the politicians. Let's have a separate panel that can do an objective analysis of what we need to do in this situation. I don't think we should leave it in the hands of the Conservatives or really of any MPs.
Or anyone. Do you think that makes some sense, though, James?
Well, I mean, it's a fair point in the sense of it's tough always to determine what your own compensation should be. But, I mean, Canadians have been asking for changes, obviously, the pension system, and you know that very well, Don, with respect to the pension system. And we did commit in the budget that was passed in the spring to move towards a 50-50 contribution rate for parliamentarians towards their own pension. And so we will be doing that going forward. And obviously there's a whole bunch of discussions in terms of what the pension arrangement may be or may not be. So,
well, I know with your pay freeze, you have to pull the Brinks truck out front here to load your paycheck in every week. So.
I'll tell you, with the pension stuff, though, okay, let me be the first.
Okay.
I'll bet a bottle of Glen Breton Scotch, okay? North America's only single malt whiskey.
Okay.
Made in
What's the bet?
Breton, in Inverness County. That what's going to happen with the pension stuff, they're going to lump it in with another big budget bill. We're going to oppose the budget bill, and the Conservative communications machine will say, look at the Liberals, look at the NDP, looking after their own pensions, and that's what it's going to be. So that's a bottle of Glen Breton on that one.
I'm just so disappointed they're already opposing a budget bill, and they haven't seen all those pages of good wisdom within it.
I got to go to you one quick thing. I counted them up. 8 attacks on the carbon tax that these guys don't advocate in the House of Commons in these statements. 0 on Lougheed's passing in the Alberta, and his funeral's Friday, I know, but why aren't you guys at least paying tribute to him in the statements?
Well, there'll be a tribute to Premier Lougheed on Friday, a substantive tribute in the House. Also, the Prime Minister will be attending the funeral service in Calgary on Friday. We'll be speaking at that. And I thought the Prime Minister gave a very good statement on Premier Lougheed on his passing. So, and you'll get no argument from us as Conservatives in terms of, the impact he had as a human being, but in terms of being a great Canadian, a great Premier for our province.
Okay, well, fair enough. We'll be watching you Friday.
Bottle of Glen Breton.
Oh, yes, okay. Good Scotch. All right, thank you all. See you next Wednesday.